Hi, boys and girls. So, for our next lesson in grammar today, we're going to be talking about writing an address. In small group last week, we discussed on how to write an address and where to put commas um, in that address. You guys told me your addresses and where you would put them. So, we just wanted to give another review before you go into the workbook pages. So, some things to remember is the first letter of every word is to be capitalized. So if it's the name of the street, the word street, the town that it's in, and the state. So we want to make sure that we put capital letters. We want to put a comma that separates the town from the state. And we also, if there's the address we're sending it to is to an apartment, we want to make sure that we put a comma after the street name before the apartment. And then we have the comma that separates the city and the state. So if we look here, we have my name, my address, and then you see my comma separating the town that I live in from the state. And here I am sending it to someone who lives in an apartment. So I have their street name, but then I put a comma because they live in apartment 2D, which it's important that if they live in an apartment that you put their either apartment number or so they know exactly what apartment to deliver it to. So down here, I have two more addresses that we can look at. What I want you to do is decide what needs to be capitalized or where punctuation, commas, capitals needed to be added in both of these. You can pause the video, take a look, or what you can do is you can fill them in with me. So I see Steve Miller, 629 Green Court. Well, I know from earlier when we were talking about capital letters that the name of streets are important and abbreviations need to have capital letters with a period. So our green needs to be capital. Your court needs to be a capital C. The T is fine, but also when we write abbreviations, we need to have the period there. And then we have Broomall, which is a capital letter. And then Pennsylvania, since it is a state, that needs to be capitalized with P-A. So when you're working, make sure you're looking for all of these things that we've already learned, especially our abbreviations, because they do come back when we are working on addresses and our certain capitalization. So looking at this one, we see Jill Marie. Marie is a name, so that will need to be having a capital M. 942 Root Road, apartment 32. So we know that root needs to be capital R. You could leave the word road or you can abbreviate it to RD, but that needs a capital R. If you do RD, you need a period at the end. We know that a comma goes after the road if there's an apartment, and we want to make the capital A for apartment. And then last line, we have Glassboro. We know that the comma needs to go after the town, and the state needs to be also capitalized. So when you're working on your workbook page, make sure you're really paying attention to where capitalization, punctuation, abbreviations all need to go. And then at the end of this week, we're going to be combining all of these skills as we review for our test.